And we're starting in France. The notorious French business tycoon Bernard Tapie in the papers. He's had his assets seized by judges, hasn't he, Flo?
That's right. Now, remember, he's suspected of rigging a €403 million arbitration settlement that he received in 2008, so when Nicolas Sarkozy was president. He's on the front page of Libération today, not with two faces, but four faces. And Libération takes a closer look at what we're talking about here when we're talking about his assets. What is his real fortune? Well, Libération says that Tapie is constantly undervaluing his fortune, which you see there's this convenient little map and diagram there, which shows just how his fortune is spread across the world in various tax havens, whether it's Belgium, Luxembourg, or Singapore. And also, according to Libération, he has all sorts of things like a 500 square meter villa in Saint-Tropez, a private jet worth 14 million euros, and a 70-meter yacht worth 40 million euros that he's called the Reborn. And all this adds up to 300 million euros, according to Libération's estimates. And all this could be seized. So 20 Minutes wonders, well, will this leave Tapie bare naked, or à poil in French? That's on the front page of 20 Minutes today. Now, Tapie, you must remember, has denied any wrongdoing and says that he will contest the seizure of his property.
They should do one of those for us, shouldn't they, Flo? A can of baked beans and a suit. That'd be just about it. Now, the Figaro, they're focusing on the prickly issue of the Roma community here in France.
That's right. On the front page of Le Figaro, it says that mayors are fed up, and mayors across the political board are fed up. Now, according to Le Figaro, they're facing a real headache, which is an increase of the number of these kind of illegal occupied plots of land by the Roma community. They're having difficulty obtaining eviction notices, and they're facing the rising anger of locals in their community. And so Le Figaro says that this is a real issue that's going to poison French politics, especially in the lead up to municipal elections next year. And Le Figaro, in their editorial, calls on the socialist government to put an end to its hypocrisy on the Roma question. For instance, Prime Minister Jean-Marc Ayrault is on a 2-day visit to Bucharest, and he said that he wants to make sure to show that, well, that French and relations with Romania don't boil down to this Roma problem. But Le Figaro says that he's wrong. Actually, Europe and indeed Romania play a very important part in this Roma question here in France. And so Le Figaro calls on the government to really find a solution, and quickly.
French papers also focusing today on how minorities are coping with unrest in Egypt and also protests in Turkey as well.
That's right. Aujourd'hui en France looks at how Coptic Christians are reacting to unrest in Egypt, and it says that, well, they're actually quite reassured and have welcomed with open arms this military coup that ousted Islamist President Mohamed Morsi. They say this was a legitimate counter-revolution, but they're not totally confident in the future, and they're afraid that these rising tensions in Egypt could all just come crashing down on the Coptic community. And Le Figaro looks at how the Jewish community in Turkey is responding to the anti-government protest movement there. And they have actually been accused of being behind this movement. And representatives from the Jewish community say that they're concerned about more and more, anti-Semitism and anti-Semitic comments from the government officials and from members of the ruling AKP party. And they're worried of, well, there could be a violent backlash against the Jewish community, and fear that, for instance, something like in 2003 could happen again. In 2003, there was a suicide attack on a synagogue in Istanbul that left 58 people dead.
Okay, Flo. Well, the other big story today here in France is exam results day, isn't it? And Aujourd'hui en France, focusing on France's famous high school diploma, the baccalaureat.
That's right. And they ask a question that a lot of students might be wondering, which is, why did I get this degree? What's it worth? And Aujourd'hui en France actually says that, well, perhaps too many baccalaureates kill the baccalaureate. So what does that mean? Well, this year there's supposed to be a record number of students that will actually pass the baccalaureate, probably above 80%. And so Aujourd'hui en France wonders, well, does that devalue this degree? Does it mean that, well, it's not worth anything?
Doesn't mean anything.
Because in the end, all these high school students get this diploma, but only about 45% of French people actually have a college degree. So they get their high school diploma, but doesn't mean that they're necessarily cut out for higher education. And maybe they just collect degrees that aren't really worth anything.
Well, if you are watching and you're getting yours today, particularly if it's in English and you're French, good luck. Hope it goes well. Flo, thanks very much, Flo VILLEMINOT, with the French papers here on France 24.